Today's learning target is I can solve equations by using addition and subtraction properties of equality.
We've been working with expressions in math, okay, and we know that expressions are when we have a variable and we're doing something to that variable, like taking a plus 2 or 3 times x. Okay, today we're going to be working with equations. Okay, equations are like expressions except you have an equal sign with it. So 2y equals 13 would be an equation, or x plus 7 equals 22. We have that equal sign, now we're dealing with an equation.
To solve equations, we can use either what's called the addition property of equality or the subtraction property of equality. So in the addition property of equality, all it's saying is if you add the same amount to both sides, that the value on each side is still going to be the same. So if you think about this, if we had 6 on this side and 3 plus 3 on this side, and we were to add 3 to both sides, they're still equal. I get 9 over here and 9 over here. So when I need to solve equations, I need to get the variable by itself. And in order to do that, I'm going to, in this case, use the addition property of equality, meaning I'm going to add 7 to this side. And the reason I'm going to do that is because if I take minus 7 plus 7, that's going to give me 0. Okay, so I add 7 to this side. Now, if I add 7 to this side, I also need to add 7 to this side if I want to keep it equal. So I'm going to just do this. So I've added 7 to both sides. Now that cancels these out. So now I'm left with x equals, so I have minus 4 plus 7. So I know that would equal 3. So x equals 3. I've solved the equation. On the other side here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to solve the equation, but I can also subtract the same amount from both sides, and my equation will still be equal. So in this case, I have a plus 10, so I'm going to take away 10. Okay, and then I'm going to take 10 away from this side. So that cancels out this, and I'm left with y, and now I do 23 minus 10 equals 13. So here, y would equal 13.
And then once you solve, you want to make sure that your answers make sense. So we're saying x is 3. I plug in 3 here. 3 minus 7 would give me a negative 4. That's right. And here we're saying y is 13. So 13 plus 10 is 23. Those make sense.
So here I'm asked to solve each equation and then graph the solution on a number line. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get n by itself. So to do that in this one, I'm going to need to add 9.7 to both sides. Okay, so that's going to cancel out this side, and I'm left with n on this side. Now remember, if I'm going to take a negative 13.9 and add 9.7, that's the same as what I've done over here. I've taken 13.9 and I've subtracted 9.7. The thing I need to remember is that my final answer needs to be negative, because when I take a look at this one, I'm at negative 13.9. If I add 9.7, I'm getting closer to 0, but I'm still on the negative side. So my final answer is negative 4.2, or 4 2/10. Now if I graph that on a number line, here's what I would do. So 0 would be here, so negative 4 I could put here, and negative 5 I'm going to put right here. And I know that negative 4.2 is in between negative 4 and 5, and it's closer to 4, negative 4, so that's how I would show it on a number line. On this one, I'm going to use my subtraction property of equality, and I'm going to take away I'm going to subtract 6.7 from each of these. Okay, so that crosses out this side and leaves me with m. And now I have 3.4 minus 6.7. Now I know that my final answer is going to be negative because I have 3.4, but I'm taking away more than 3.4, taking away 6.7. So to figure that out, you can see what I've done here. I've just subtracted 6.7 minus 3.4, and then I have to remember it's going to be negative. So my answer is going to be negative 3.3, or negative 3 3/10. Now if I were to graph that on a number line, I'd have 0, okay, I'd have negative 3, and I'd have negative 4, and 3.3 is going to be closer to the middle, but still on the negative 3 end. So I would do just like that, negative 3.3.